For the last 6 years, I funneled a massive portion of my income into the stock market. I wasn't always smart about it, and I didn't just buy index funds, the S&P 500, and just chilled. I scratched the itch. I picked stocks and I made risky bets. Some of them paid off huge, and some of them, well, they lost me thousands of dollars. In this video, I'm going to share why I chose to invest so aggressively while working in tech, and I'll walk you through exactly which accounts I used and the specific mistakes that I'm still paying for. And most importantly, did 6 years of hard work actually amount to anything? The final number surprised me. My name is Aaron. I'm 33 years old and I've been married for 9 years. And I work as a software engineer at Google. But if you rewind to 2019, my financial picture was a joke. I pulled up my old statements just for this video, and in 2019, my Robinhood account actually had like 10 cents in it. And in 2020, my HSA balance was $0, and my 401k had a balance of $787. I had a job, but I didn't see any gains. We're about to get into the numbers, but I have to tell you about my strategy because it's a little controversial. If you watch other finance channels, they'll tell you never buy individual stocks, buy low cost index funds, be boring. Statistically, they're right, but I couldn't do it. I have the itch. I enjoy the game. I'm a tech guy. I follow the industry, and I want to bet on companies that I believe in. So unlike the perfect investors, I didn't just buy the S&P and just hold. I bought individual companies too, and I took big risks. I invested in things like Google and TSMC because I work in the field of tech and I thought I saw where the world was going. And I want to be clear, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a guy with a camera documenting my life. But I think it's important to show you that you can build wealth even if you don't follow the perfect textbook strategy, as long as you accept the risks and invest. I went back through 6 years of transaction history and I added up every single dollar that I sent into my brokerage account, 401k, Roth IRA, HSA, and company stock. This is my cash, my money that I didn't spend on cars, I didn't spend on vacations, I didn't waste. And the total net contribution is $255,744. That averages around like $42 per year in savings. But here's the thing, I didn't save all that every year like that. It wasn't linear, it wasn't a straight line. So where did that $250,000 go? We didn't limit ourselves into just one type of account. We used 5 specific buckets, 5 different accounts. Now the first bucket is the 401k. This is the boring heavy hitter. And today, this account sits at $252,347. But let's look at the history here. So I'm going to show you my 401k. It's with Vanguard. And let's look at our first investment, October 2020. That's when I started working and I put $680 into the account. That's in October 2020. Let's go to October 2021. At October 2021, I had a total of 1,120. And if you look on top, it says a cumulative return of $212. So now we look at October 2022, we've ending balance of $53,000 and we're down $7,000. So this is already our second year of investing, right? We invested in 2020, we invested in 2021. Now we're starting 2022 and we're already down $7,000. Okay. Now let's go to 2023. This is our third year of investing and we put in $143,000 all together. And guess how much we're up? We're only up $472 for 3 years of effort. I felt like, is this ever going to work? 3 years of putting effort into this, and me and my wife just said, yes, it's gonna keep working. We kept investing. So that's the third year. But the next year, we were actually up. We put $222,000 all together. We're up $55,000 the next year. That's crazy. We were literally 500 up last year. 3 years of effort. 1 year, all of a sudden, we're up 55,000. And then 2025 comes, and by October 2025, we're up $111,000 cumulative returns. It's crazy. We ended the year with $103,000 cumulative dollars in returns. Look at that graph. It's only going up. That's the power of compounding. That's the power of the market. Keep investing. Now let's break down the 401k and let's see what the real results are after all these years of investing. I contributed a net total of $149,163.05. The investments generated $2,324.73 in dividends. The market appreciation added another $100,859.36. Combined, the total growth was $103,184.09. That results in a total return of 69.17% for an account that I just bought S&P 500 and just set it and forget it and never thought about it again. Then the second bucket that I use is the Roth IRA. This is where my stock picker personality just paid off, because today the balance is $105,122. I use this account to like bet big. I concentrated heavily on tech stocks, especially two stocks, Google and TSMC. And in 2025, that bet paid off. And this is extra good because since this is a Roth IRA, it's a tax-free account and the government can't touch 1 cent of those gains. My Roth IRA, we started in November 1st, 2021. We started with a balance of $6,000 I deposited there. And then my cumulative return the first day was $17 a negative. And then let's look a year later. We're at November 1st. We're down $6,500 and we still have a balance of $5,400. So I didn't deposit for a full year. Then we go to like November again. November 1st, and then we're actually up here with an ending balance of $20,000. I added more money into the account, and our cumulative return is $4,000. Now let's fast forward another year to 2024. Here, I put $50,000 into the account, and we have a cumulative return of $4,200. And then a year later, at November 2025, we're up $49,000 with an ending balance of $101,459.92. That's a huge year. What happened in this account is that I invested in Google stock, TSMC, semiconductor. I was really bullish and I sold. And then this is our return for that year, and it's all tax-free. Government can't take a penny. It's great. So that's what this account looks like. It's doing well. Now let's break down my Roth IRA. This is the account, like as you saw, the one that I like to stock pick. And my net deposits in this account was $52,220.27, which I used a backdoor Roth loophole to just like put all that money there because that's a lot of money in just 5 years. This generated $3,131.54 in dividends. And in market gains, I added another $49,770.92. The total growth was $52,902.46, meaning that the profit actually exceeded what I contributed. And because the growth was higher than the contribution, the total return effectively is 101%. This is my best account yet. That means that I'm doing pretty good at stock picking. The third bucket that I invest in is my company stock, or RSUs. I get those restricted stock units every single month, and they can range from like anywhere from $6,000 or $10,000 a month. It depends on how expensive the stock is at the time. And every single month I get those stocks and I just leave it in the account. Especially last year in 2025, I executed a major exit. I sold $135,000 worth of that stock. I took the profit right off the table because the Google stock was super high, highest that it's ever been. And I was like, yo, it's time to sell. But I didn't spend it on a Lamborghini, though that would have been awesome. But I actually used it to buy a multi-family investment property. I'm currently house hacking it, and I'm living in one unit, renting out the others. And I'm in the middle of this massive rehab for that project. And if you want to see exactly how much that property cost or the full tour of the rehab, just click the card right here. I made a whole video breaking down the numbers, and I was super transparent. You can see all the numbers of what it cost to buy that multifamily house. So what you're looking at here is my Alphabet account or my Google stocks. It says that the total value of this portfolio is $313,802. That's kind of like misleading because actually I have vested $79,000, but I have promised $234,000 that I get in the next 4 years. So every single year Google gives me more stock, but for now I have promised at least $234,000 in the next 4 years. But right now in my account I only have $79,000, which is still a lot. So here it's actually 244 shares of Google stock. If we go into this account here, let's look at there's like no like performance. You guys I can share it with you guys here, but I did do the homework and I will be sharing the performance on screen on the table, so you guys can get an idea of like what has been happening in this account and what are my holdings, how much has it been fluctuating throughout the years, and I actually cashed out so much this year, and you guys will see that on the table. All right. In this account, the cost basis or the vested shares that I deposited here was $142,033.09. I earned a small dividend of $671.08. The market gains in this account, both realized and unrealized, are massive. They are $123,178.61. And the total growth of this account is $123,849.69, which brings our total return to 87.20%. Which is huge. Bucket number 4, and this is an account most people sleep on. This is the HSA. A lot of people don't know this, but you could actually invest in your HSA. And I started investing in 2021 and with just $1,500. Today, that's worth $17,890. I just can't believe it. So what you guys are looking at here is my HSA. My total balance is $20,186 as I'm recording this. And then you can see my portfolio here, 100% allocated into VIIX, which is the Index Institutional Plus. It's kind of like the S&P 500. And then my closing value here is 17,853. And then these other ones, looks like I do have like a share, like 17 shares here, 4 shares here, but it's not that much. And then yeah, so like that's what it looks like. It looks like in 2023, this is where I started investing here. Like I always put money in my HSA, but I didn't start investing. Looks like until 2023, because I didn't really know you could invest in HSA. And then I found that out, and I was like, oh, it's another tax advantage account. You know, got to take advantage of it. So then I put 3,900 there, and then since then I keep putting 2,000 like every year. And then but it's been like outperforming everything, bro. Like look, it went from 3,900 to 7,000 to 9,000, almost 10,000, and then now 20,000. So this is doing great. If it keeps going like this, it's gonna be one of the top ones. You know, like this HSA is a monster. Now let's break down the HSA. I deposited a total of $12,519.33 in this account. The dividends that I got out of this account were $683.18. And the market gains that I added were $4,688. The total growth in this account was $5,371.18. This resulted in a total return of 42.9%, which is also great because this is a tax advantage account and all of that money just stays with me. Now, I want to be extra transparent, and it wasn't all wins. This is my Robinhood account, and I've invested $41,849 of my own cash here. And today it's worth about $37,855. By the time I'm filming this, maybe it's up tomorrow, who knows. But that means that I'm down $4,000 all time. But the story's actually worse than that $4,000 because it doesn't look that bad. Last year I was riding so high. I bet really big on TSMC stock in that account as well, and I made $15,000. I felt like a genius. I felt invincible. So I decided to do something extra. I started doing options trading. I've never do that, and I just started doing that because I just wanted more. I didn't really know what I was doing, and I just saw the potential for huge gains, and I just went big. And you know what? In the span of 48 hours, I was literally at work. I lost $11,000 just like a flash like that. I was literally seeing the charges drop, and I was literally nauseous. I had to go to a meeting room and just like feel that. Like it was intense. This one, we're gonna go back in time. Okay, so right now we're going to, let's look at all time. All time, what I don't like about Robinhood is that this balance right here is literally everything that I've invested all time. You know, so it's not like, it doesn't tell you the balance back in the day. Back in the day in 2018, I didn't have this amount of money. Like if you look at the returns, they're $33, $9, $6, because I had very little money. $6 represented a good amount. Oh, right there, look, it says $6 is 0.2% of this amount. But yeah, like at that moment, it was probably like a lot of money. It was probably a huge percentage of my portfolio. But let's start in 2020. In 2020, just look at this graph, man. Like it just moves a couple
$50 here, $50 there. There was like no money in the account. So like you don't see any like big movements until like November 1st, 2024. Okay. In November 1st, 2024, I started investing heavy and we went up. We actually made some money, $2,000. And then in December 1st, and then after that, it was just downhill, bro. Downhill. That's November 2024. Look at this. It's just going down, down. We're down 7,000 already, down 8,000. I did good here. I went like a little bit back up, but down 17, almost broke even here. And then right after July 1st, back down, $13,000 down, up to $15,000. That's the lowest I've ever been. And then went up again, 5,000. And then yeah, like now we're all the way up, but it's January 21st. We actually ended the year negative 5,000 in this account. That's where I'm making this video about. Since then, I'm up, but I'm gonna share what I invested in here in another video. If you guys are interested, let me know in the comment section and we'll talk about it.
This one wasn't so hot. I deposited $41,849.71 into this account. And unlike the other accounts, I kind of don't have any gains or dividends. The strategy here of stock picking didn't pay off. And the total growth instead is a net loss of negative $4,129.75. That leaves me with a total return on this account, a negative return of negative 9.87%. We could round that up to negative 10%. This is the massive fail in my account, and that kind of happens when you stock pick. You kind of lose sometimes. But the hardest part wasn't just like losing the money. It was actually coming home to tell my wife. I've been married for 9 years, and we're a team, but I've made this trade without talking to her. I never even told her I was doing options trading. So now I had to like fess up. I walked in, I told her I was embarrassed. I apologized for risking our money like that without like thinking gambling. And her reaction actually surprised me because she didn't scream. She didn't scream about the money. She didn't get that mad about the money. She looked at me and she said, if you would have told me, we would have invested it, win or lose. And you know what? That hit me harder than the loss of the 11 grand because I worked so hard to be transparent with her. We worked so hard to make things together. And now I messed up. I dropped the ball. She forgave me, but now we have a new rule. No more options trading. And honestly, that's a good rule. Lesson learned. What happens when you invest aggressively for 6 years? What happens when you put $255,000 of your own cash into the market through a crash in 2022, through a tech boom in 2025? I tallied up all my accounts, and this is what we got. In the 401k, we have $252,347. That's insane. In the Roth IRA, I have $105,122. In RSUs, I have $81,217. This is even after selling. In Robinhood, I have $37,855. And the HSA, I have $17,890. That gives us a grand total of $494,433. That's insane. And you know what's crazy? That's only part of my net worth. For my full net worth, subscribe because I'll be sharing my net worth in another video very soon. For me, it's crazy to think that in 2019, I had 10 cents in my brokerage account, and today I have almost $500,000 just invested in liquid assets. It didn't happen because I was some genius. My Robinhood account and my habits proved that. It happened because I focused on the inputs. I focused on the shovel. Now I want to be like extra honest with you. Seeing that number on the screen, the 494,000, that's exciting. But it's also been absolutely terrifying because nobody prepares you for the math at this level. When you have like $500,000 invested, because a 1% move in the market is $5,000. That's like literally what some people make a full month. And my portfolio can lose that in a single afternoon. If you were investing last year, you remember April 3rd and April 4th in 2025 because that was a bad day for stock market. The market collapsed. In just 2 days, my portfolio dropped nearly $50,000. It took everything I had not to hit the sell button and stop the bleeding. Luckily, I stayed strong. I stayed firm. And luckily, the market rebounded fully in like April 9th. That experience taught me something about myself. There's some growing up that I need to do. There's some maturing that I need to do to look at a $50,000 loss and see it as normal. I'm not there yet. My stomach still turns when I see that drop like that. But I'm learning that volatility is just the price you pay for wealth, is the price you pay for investing. I ran the numbers, and even if I never contribute another dollar into these investments, which obviously I will, but even if I didn't, at a 7% average return on this $494,000, you know this will grow to over $3 million by the time I'm 60. As I look at these big numbers, there's a few takeaways that I learned from this 6 years of journey. I learned that a dollar invested early is worth much more than a dollar invested today. There's no perfect time. Like literally what I'm wasting is just time itself. The second biggest thing that I learned is that income is fuel. I couldn't have invested $255,000 if I had stayed as like the guy I was when I was 26. I had to focus on my career. I had to switch jobs. I had to level up my skills. And I learned that I just couldn't just save my way to an investment like that. That's just an income problem. It's not a spending problem. The third thing that I learned is that it's okay to be imperfect. I lost money in Robinhood. I lost money in 2022, and I panic sold sometimes too. But because I just kept on chugging along and just investing and kept trying, the mistakes kind of didn't matter. The machine now, the nest egg, is big enough that it grows even when I make these silly mistakes. I'm going to keep documenting this. My goal is to hit $1 million in liquid assets, and I'm sure I'm going to make a lot of dumb stock picks along the way. And if you want to see that stuff, if you want to see if I actually make it or just blow it all in bad trades, subscribe to the channel.